Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain to you why only these people will get rich from XRP. And now we got to figure out exactly what the truth is. Guys, only the people that understand the fate of the world and where the world is going are going to get rich from XRP. You see, there was a video that circulated yesterday of Ripple's executive Chris Larsen pulling no punches. Gary Gensler is single-handedly responsible for destroying crypto in the United States. Ripple defeating the SEC is a chance for the market in the United States to thrive again, and I can't stress how important XRP being declared a non-security was. However, damage has been done. Ladies and gentlemen, the people that are genuinely going to get wealthy from XRP are those that take advantage of the geography of entrepreneurship moving forward. Blockchain has been decimated in the United States. However, internationally, in different cities, it's thriving. London, Singapore, Dubai, Switzerland, you name it. There will be blockchain revolutions in different countries that will pull them out of poverty. El Salvador is a good example. But what I really want to hammer home is how important being adaptable leading into the new world is. I'm going to play you this clip from Chris Larsen going absolutely ballistic against the SEC. And then I'm going to hammer this point home so that all of you really get what I mean. I want all of you to get wealthy from XRP. And I think there's going to be a strategic way to do it.
This administration made a really bad call.
At the city level or at the federal level?
At the federal level. They pretty much killed San Francisco from being what it was, the blockchain capital of the world. We owned it, and we don't anymore because the Biden administration, for whatever reason, decided they want to push this industry offshore. And so it's London, Singapore, Dubai that really are the global capitals of blockchain. That's unfortunate. Maybe our vacancy rate would be half of what it is here in San Francisco. It's 30%. It might have been 15% if we still were the global blockchain capital of the world. So that was a missed opportunity. It's really unfortunate. It hurt the city.
Now guys, before I continue with this bombshell of a clip from Chris Larsen, I'm going to show you some of the most crypto-friendly countries in the world. And the reason I'm doing this is because these crypto regulations are affecting us, the retail investor, more than anybody. We need to go where we're treated best, something that the nomad capitalist has echoed for years. And here he discusses the top 5 most crypto-friendly countries in the world. Germany, Switzerland, El Salvador, Portugal, Malta. And actually, when you look at the least crypto-friendly countries in the world as well, you'd get a country like China. But also, despite the fact that he doesn't have the US in here, I would put the US high on the list. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Larsen is going to get to some important information about the SEC's appeal in this case. But what's important for all of you to remember is that we have made significant strides forward with our victory of being called not a security. And nothing at this point can stop us now.
The latest with Ripple Labs action at the federal level is that you have objected to the SEC's request to appeal the original court ruling, which was a positive for Ripple in the sense that it found the cryptocurrency XRP was not a security when it was sold to the public. Could you just explain what the latest is with that legal dispute?
Well, I think the bottom line is the SEC lost on everything that was important to them and important in regulation of the industry. The case still continues. There's appeal processes that everybody has the right to do. But we think that this is really groundbreaking. This is the law of the land. And it is actually quite good news, I think, I think the U.S. screwed up here on crypto and blockchain policy. this is the beginning now through the courts, unfortunately, instead of
Yes.
through regulators, to get that clarity and get us back in the
Well,
game.
there's kind of both happening in parallel. There's your situation with the SEC. Think about the applications pending for Bitcoin spot ETF. You know,
Yeah.
Gary Gensler and the SEC have both decisions to make on applications and fights that they are or are not willing to pick. How has that reflected on Gary Gensler, to your mind, as lead of that
Well, you bring up
organization?
a great point. You saw in the latest challenge on the ETF, the Bitcoin ETF. Again, SEC lost, but not only that, the judge really admonished the SEC, really called them out in a way that you don't really see very often. I think it's just more proof that Gary Gensler's decision of sort of engaging this regulation by enforcement, rather than getting clear laws, he knows they're not clear. He just likes that lack of clarity so that he can go after anybody and make up the rules as he goes along through bullying. And that's not the American way. This should be at Congress. We should have clear rules from the legislatures, not through these sort of unelected, power-hungry, and really misplaced decision makers that you see in Gary Gensler.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but Chris Larson pulled no punches when referring about Gary Gensler. The United States has lost out on a lot of leadership as far as the crypto revolution is concerned. Instead of San Francisco, maybe New York, maybe Austin or Miami being the head of crypto in the world. It's London, it's Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai. This is very frustrating, but what needs to be understood is the decentralization of the nations of the world in regards to financial power is happening in real time. The dollar is falling and financial power is being distributed. And with that, the United States being a declining empire is allowing for a regulatory arbitrage opportunity for the rest of the world. Raoul Pal, one of my favorite macroeconomists, explains just how powerful regulatory arbitrage is for nations to take advantage of different countries being more hostile to innovation than others. And with that, he compares the crypto market with derivatives and the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity that allowed for other countries when that was around. Ladies and gentlemen, the same thing is happening with crypto. Some countries are positioning themselves to be leaders and grow exponentially due to the lack of clarity from countries like the US. If you know this information, you'll truly become the new 1%. Maybe you could move to where you're treated best. And maybe, just maybe, you'll maximize your freedom in an increasingly less free world. Guys, to cap off this video for today, I'm playing this clip from Impact Theory, going further into regulatory arbitrage. And I hope, if nothing else, you begin to understand more and more how the world is working. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
UK says, forget it, we'll do it. It became what's known as the Eurodollar market, which is the overseas market for dollar borrowing and lending. That becomes we don't know the size of it, but let's call it a $400 trillion market.
Whoa.
And then the US, then we get this big breakthrough in derivatives. The US has got the Chicago Board of Trade doing futures and options and all of this stuff. But we start to figure out more complicated structures, things like swaps. And the US stops its banks doing it by its use of regulatory capital. They're like, no, this is inefficient. You can't do this. The UK and Europe went, well, we're going to regulate and allow it to happen because it's big. We've seen this before. That becomes a $250 billion market.
Jesus.
That's why every single bank from about 1985, well, particularly after the Big Bang in London, so let's call it from about 1990 to about 2008, 2010, all the major banks' largest operations were London. So Goldman Sachs' biggest operation, most profitable, London. Merrill Lynch, London. Merrill Lynch is different because it was a brokerage firm. But JP Morgan, they were all London. So London, if you've been watching the news, is going to do the same thing. It's called regulatory arbitrage. London is putting together a very sensible set of crypto rules, as has Europe, as has Switzerland, as has Singapore, as has Hong Kong, as has Australia. Okay, there's its old trading group that it did with Eurodollars and it did with derivatives and it did with foreign exchange, all got their regulations in place. The UK is the hub at the middle, and it will capture the lion's share. And before you know it, Coinbase, Gemini, and everybody will move to London.